Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Poet Technologies. This was a stock analysis request from one of the followers, and I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I will most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. Now in the case of this chart we actually have quite a choppy structure, so the actual structure within these waves looks corrective in both directions, so it is a more difficult than normal chart to trade. It is one I would personally probably stay away from. Now to the downside, I can count pretty much a three-wave structure in both the waves that we have built, but so can I in the structures to the upside that have formed really. Now we might have a bit of a more reliable structure in terms of being able to count it as a 5-wave move to the upside, but the count is not pretty. It's not one that I would find highly reliable, so personally I think it is best not to focus too much on the internal structure. And if you really want to enter on this chart, even though the clarity is extremely reduced, you could be looking technically for a general correction here in a wave 2. Now within this structure, yeah, it's not pretty. It's actually really bad. I could argue that, okay, we might be tracking a leading diagonal here to the upside. That could kind of make sense, although even the internal structures within this movement don't really line up too well. But without looking too much into the details, I could argue that, yeah, this was a wave 1 up, and we had then here a correction in a wave 2 that technically could be complete, but then this movement to the upside again, very choppy, also in 3 waves here and here as well. So I would rather like another low within this area, then it might be a little more interesting to enter. Now we did get to the support zone here in the wave 2, even if we had already bottomed, we did reach the minimum expectations in terms of the correction. And yeah, we have the general support zone area between the $3.14 level all the way down to the $1.2 level, and as long as we stay above the 78.6% retracement, we can still track continuation to the upside in a pretty much regular 1-2 setup. But again, it is not a clear structure, it is not a pretty structure, and it is not one of the high reliability charts that I would normally recommend. We have plenty of those that we do cover on a regular basis, where we do actually have pretty clear structures. We have pretty clearly defined support zones, and actually quite some good opportunities like the SMR chart, the UEC chart, uranium energy, and also the energy fields chart also has some potential support zones lined up in the future. And yeah, we cover those regularly, and they would be some of the charts that I would recommend to track more. But yeah, in this area, in the case of this chart, I suppose we could be technically looking for direct continuation to the upside, but it's not something that I would be looking for a support zone for to actually enter in this area, because we are in an area of pretty high risk where this could still turn into an ABC structure to the downside. Now within this movement, I will track it in, let's say, yellow. Within this wave B, we actually pushed above what we would normally expect to find resistance in for wave B. We actually got nearly to the previous stop. That is perfectly fine, it happens at times. And yeah, I would be thinking and preferring actually even to have here another 1-2 setup that has formed, and in that case I would be looking for the third wave to the downside. And in such a case, within this structure we can even look a little bit at the RSI. I do see a little bit of divergences, so we may even have a 5-wave structure that has formed in this area to the downside. I do have a 3-wave structure that has formed to the upside. If I am to look at the resistance area for a wave 2 that I would be tracking in this internally within this wave C, I would be expecting to find resistance in the area, let's see, between the $5.6 all the way up to the 78.6% retracement at the $6.9 level. And basically we got to the top of this resistance area, not quite, we didn't touch it, but yeah, not far from it. And then we had a pretty significant and major reaction to the downside. So I would be watching out for an initial additional 1-2 setup internally, where we may form an initial larger 5-wave move to the downside within this wave 3, and then we would have an additional 1-2 setup again. But who knows, within this structure I do see it as quite choppy. We might not have a 5-wave structure, so that's why I'm actually looking for a possible diagonal interpretation within this third wave to the downside that could prove to in the end be more impulsive than usual. And so far, assuming that we have a wave 1 bottom here and a wave 2 top here, I would be looking for an ideal target in the wave 3 at the $3.5 level. Now, it doesn't need to get there. They usually do in the wave 3, and if they don't, it is a pretty great warning sign that a different count might be going on. But oftentimes they do surpass it significantly. Now, in this case, we do have this structural support at that exact level and also here. So I do find it very likely to have at least some sort of a relief rally from this $3.5 level if we manage to get there. But to the upside, I wouldn't expect more than a wave 4, and then I would still be looking for continuation to the downside in this wave C within the wave 5. Now, if we are to actually look at the upside potential within this chart, I would like to hold at least in support here for another larger 1-2 setup within another leading diagonal. I would need it to hold at least the 78.6% retracement at the $3.7 level. Now, this could still unfold perhaps as something more bullish, where technically maybe could still work as 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 setup. Not something very likely, since the internal structure of this movement to the upside is clearly in 3 waves. So I would much rather prefer to continue directly to the downside within this wave 3 and have a more proper correction in the wave 2 that initiates then a movement in the wave 3 to the upside with an initial 5-wave structure instead of this choppy mess that occurred here within this wave B that is clearly just a WXY. So I would be surprised to push directly higher, and as long as we stay below the 78.6% retracement here at the $6.9 level, I do prefer to go lower. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.